Good morning, welcome to Grain TV. It's August 28, 2012. I'm Logan Burgess. To my right is Brock Shimano. Brock will top in a fire tip here. We're kind of looking at a mixed trade in the grains right now. As you can see, corn relatively unchanged. Soybeans mixed here across the different delivery periods. We're taking a look at wheat trading slightly higher here. You know, once again, we had the grains trade a little bit higher off the open of the night session, kind of fade during the middle of the night session. Now we see it relatively unchanged. One thing, though, pushing it here once again at the open of that night session was crop conditions and progress that we got yesterday afternoon. What are we looking at there?
Yeah, analysts were kind of expecting an unchanged condition rating for corn. Soybeans were looking for about a 1% increase on the good to excellent. What we actually got, though, was corn and soybeans both getting decreased 1% on the good to excellent ratings. But take a look at where we were standing last year. Last year we were 54% good to excellent on corn, 57% on beans. So we're quite a bit lower than where we were last year. This has been known throughout the growing season. We've had a substantial drought. We were in much need of rain throughout the whole summer, but we didn't get it. So as a result, we have crop conditions that are pretty poor right now. Let's take a look at where we actually stand on the progress of these two different crops. If you take a look at where corn is on the maturity level, we're actually at 26% mature versus 7% last year. The red line, and the yellow line is actually the average of where we should be for this time of year. So the blue line here is actually quite a bit ahead of where we were over the 5-year period and where we were last year. Soybeans, on the other hand, dropping leaves, their percentage of dropping leaves is about 8% right now. We're compared to last year, 2%, the red line, and the previous 5-year average is about 4%, the yellow line here. So you can see we're a little bit above where we were last year at this point. So any precipitation that comes in the next 7 to 10 days or even further out is not going to help out some of those late developing soybean crops as we're heading towards harvest on both corn and soybeans.
Right, certainly. Well, this crop is kind of coming to the end here, so attention is starting to turn a little bit here to the 2013 crop. This morning we did get the first report out from Farm Futures here on what they expect for acreage out of that crop. And take a look here at this table on the top here first. The top row here is what the USDA has projected for the 2012 acreage. The second line here is what Farm Futures came out this morning for 2013 acreage. And as you can see here, they're actually looking for about a 3% decrease in corn acres and about a 5.5% increase in bean acres. You know, one really basic way to kind of look at what the market is telling farmers to put in the ground for that 2013 crop is the ratio between the new crop 13 bean contract and the new crop 13 corn contract. And as you can see here, we basically took one over the other and established a ratio here on the vertical axis. And as you can see here, as the weather market, as this drought really persisted throughout our summer here, the premium that soybeans carried over corn really started to diminish here. You can see right now that new crop soybean contract is only trading about 2 times the value of that new crop corn contract. Obviously, there's a lot of input factors here, primarily fertilizer coming into the next season here. A lot of concern about producers putting corn on corn. But this is a very interesting thing to take a look at here. We're going to have to keep an eye on that as we move through our winter here, obviously moving into planting 2013.
You know, I think input costs are going to be a big concern, and like you said, what acreage were we looking at that were corn on corn this year? Right. Are they going to plant corn a 3rd year in a row? Could see those acres change over to soybeans. Something else that they're going to have to keep in mind is South America is about to plant their soybean crop.
Right.
If Brazil's looking to add a lot of acres into soybeans for them, if they do add those acres and have a decent crop, they will actually overtake the United States this year as the #1 producing soybean country in the world. So it's something that's going to weigh on the soybean market as we move through their growing season, our winter here.
Certainly. Well, we'll keep you posted on that on Grain TV. One final thing here, we wanted to show some projections here for over the next 5 days of precipitation as Hurricane Isaac makes landfall here. As you can see, down in New Orleans, we're expecting between 18 and 21 inches of rain here over the next 5 days. That's gotten a lot of coverage here. You know, yesterday, Brock, we reported that the Mississippi River right now is closed to barge traffic south of Baton Rouge. We heard stories that ADM and Cargill facilities were closing down there in the Gulf. So that's certainly not good for the U.S. export front here. Kind of more impacting beans that maybe are still in the pod filling stage is this large area of follow-through precipitation from the storm. They're expecting between 3 and 6 inches here over the next 5 days in areas of Arkansas, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio here. One thing, though, to keep in mind is that with these rains are going to come some very strong winds with the potential of actually damaging the crop. So we're going to have to see how that pans out here. But it does look like soil moisture should be improving here over the next week in this large swath of the Corn Belt. We'll keep you posted on that on Grain TV here. Thanks a lot for joining us on Tuesday morning here on Grain TV. We'll see you tomorrow morning.